Today on TFL Bike, we have news from Italy, from Ducati specifically.
Ducati and Lamborghini, double Italy news. There's an all-new, very special Ducati that resembles a lot of what Lamborghini's doing.
Yeah, and it's sort of two models. Well, it's two versions of one model. So the main model is called the Ducati Streetfighter V4 Lamborghini, but there's also a version of this bike that has a preposterous name, an even more preposterous name. It's the Ducati Streetfighter V4 Lamborghini Speciale Clienti.
Yeah, that's quite the name there. Ducati's really crazy with their naming system.
Yeah, and we'll explain that difference in a moment. But basically what these bikes are is they're limited run Streetfighter V4s that are designed to take some inspiration from the Huracan STO, which is a super, super wild Lamborghini Huracan, and that's actually a car that Roman drove at the track about a year ago.
Yeah, it's a street legal but track focused Lamborghini.
Is it even street legal?
I thought it was.
Yeah, I think it is. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it's street legal.
We do motorcycles.
We can't afford Lamborghinis, so we're not Lamborghini experts.
Yeah, we're not staying that close.
Yeah, but anyway, Roman had the chance to drive this car on the track about a year ago. It looked like an absolute blast.
Yeah, I'm sure it wasn't bad.
Yeah, can't complain about kind of day like that at work. But Ducati is building a bike that, like Case said, very closely resembles what they're doing with the Lamborghini. So the first thing you'll notice about that is obviously the color. They're using the same exact green and red paint, so same paint codes and everything that they use on the car. That's coming to the bike, and that in itself is a really odd thing. Just seeing a bright green Ducati makes me scratch my head a little bit, honestly.
It's not subtle.
No.
And the other thing that you notice when you look at this bike immediately is you see the number 63 on the side of it, and that's to represent the year that Lamborghini was founded. So, also in that same vein, the Ducati is going to build 630 units of the standard bike, but they're also going to build these 63 Speciale Clienti versions of the bike, which are going to go to Huracan STO owners, or allocated specifically for STO owners so that they can match the bike exactly to their car. So it can have the same kind of wheel design, same kind of paint as their Huracan STO, which is cool if you have money for those kind of things. I mean, if I had hundreds of thousands of dollars burning a hole in my pocket, why would you not want a Ducati that matches your Lamborghini?
I can't think of a single reason why you wouldn't.
Me neither.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about the Street Fighter in general. So there's a Street Fighter V2, there's also the V4, there's the V4 SP. The SP makes 208 horsepower and costs around $35,500. The V2 starts just above $17,000.
Yeah, and even the V2 is a 150 horsepower bike. It's not exactly a slow or inexpensive entry-level bike. Street Fighter V2 is already a crazy machine. 150 horsepower, $17,295. I mean, those are big figures already. Yeah, then you work your way all the way up to the V4 SP. 208 horsepower, insane amount of horsepower, especially in a bike that weighs dry weight less than 400 pounds. Also, almost $40,000, already an expensive bike. But clearly, that wasn't nearly crazy enough.
No, so, I mean, they didn't up the power on this new model here. It's still the same 208 horsepower that you get in the V4 SP. Same weight, just under 400 pounds, 392 pounds.
Yeah, so based on that, there's like 2 pounds of difference, because I think the regular SP is 390, and they say this is 392 dry weight. Virtually the same weight, though. And a curb weight of 435.5 pounds when it's actually fueled up and has oil in it and all that. Which, I mean, for a bike with over 200 horsepower, 435 pounds, curb weight.
That's pretty good.
That's a lot of power to weight.
Yeah, that's pretty damn good. Speaking of power, it all comes from an 1103cc Desmo Sedici Stradale engine.
That was pretty good.
Thank you. That's the V4 they use in the Street Fighter, and all the Street Fighters Street Fighter V4s, the Multistrada V4, the Panigale V4. So a familiar engine that if you're a Ducati fan, you probably know a lot about already.
Yeah, it's a good engine that's under a lot of really nice Ducati bikes, and it's no different in this. This bike also uses that same Öhlins Smart EC 2.0 suspension, which is crazy top-of-the-line Olin suspension. So everything about this bike, from the Brembo's Dilemma brakes to the Olin suspension to the 208 horsepower, are all as crazy as they are on the V4 SP. But there obviously has to be some differences other than just the price, because this does cost a pretty penny extra than the V4 SP, and we'll get to the price at the end. But the differences obviously come down to the paint finish and the wheels, things like that resemble the Huracan, things that you can see immediately when you look at the bike. But there's a few other subtle differences,
Before you get into the subtle differences real quick, you mentioned those wheels. Those they did a really good job with, I think. They really do resemble the wheels. They're not exactly the same, but they clearly have a similar pattern, similar shape, finish, even down to like the axle nut on the Ducati being, done in this red finish, and same with the center lug on the Lamborghini.
Yeah.
They nailed that. It looks really cool.
It does look really cool, and it matches the car really well. I mean, imagine having a garage and having these two parked next to each other. Even if you don't have lasers behind them, it would look absolutely
If you can afford these
incredible.
two, you can afford the lasers to put in your garage.
Yeah, that's true. You probably have enough other vehicles that you might not have room for these and lasers. But some of the other differences between this V4 and the V4 SP come down to the bodywork itself. So the components that are redesigned would be like the front fender, the belly pan, the tank cover, the tail. They did a bunch of these features with a slightly more aggressive shape to them. So they're not so different that you would notice immediately, especially if you haven't looked at a V4 SP all that much, but they're just a little bit more bulged and aggressive, a few extra cuts and vents and angles to some of the bodywork on top of that paint scheme. And all of these components are made out of carbon fiber, of course, but not just any carbon fiber. It's carbon fiber that even uses the same texture as the carbon fiber that you would get on the Huracan STO, and even the seat material is designed to resemble the seat material in the Huracan STO. And then you get a bunch of other carbon bits like a sprocket cover, ignition cover, a dash cover, heel guards, but then the's even more.
There's
components.
an open carbon cover over that dry clutch. You get a dry clutch on this bike.
Yeah.
Pretty sweet.
Yeah, you also get adjustable foot pegs, you get lighter billet levers.
They deleted the mirrors, the plate holder in the rear.
Well, yeah, so those are all options. So that open cover for the dry clutch and the mirror delete and the plate delete, those are options if you want to track your bike. You get those so that you can delete those things on the bike if you're planning on tracking it.
You need those for the street, so.
Yeah, but imagine tracking this bike.
Terrifying?
That seems... if you're buying this, obviously you have a lot of money to burn. If you're tracking either one of these,
you're stupid and you have a lot of money to burn.
Yeah, well,
no,
what would be funny? What would be funny actually is if you were to talk to the people at Ducati, guaranteed, they would say 100%. We hope that people take this out on the track, and that's
true. That's what they hope for the car too.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's 100% true. But come on. That's a very pretty expensive bike to go take and potentially drop on a track.
Yeah, and also getting like replacement fairings that are special Lamborghini.
Yeah.
All the special carbon. It's not replacing regular Ducati parts here.
Which is already
not the easiest.
Imagine if you were hauling down the straight on a track and a bug hit that paint.
Yeah.
I don't think I could bear it.
Yeah, it'd be a bummer. Imagine this, though. Imagine taking this to the track and riding on the track in a matching suit, matching helmet, head to toe in Huracan STO gear, basically.
Yeah, so get matching gear.
They're offering a matching helmet, matching suit, different bits of riding gear, so you can be fully decked out and really match this bike. The helmet's really cool. It's got the same green and red paint scheme with the 63 on the sides.
Yeah. Which is cool. That's something that I appreciate from Ducati in particular, because they do that with a lot of their bikes. Mm-hmm. They give you the option to have matching gear, and that just shows an attention to aesthetics, detail. To have your riding gear match the bike you're on, some could argue maybe it looks a little cheesy, but
Yeah.
with a bike like this and the way that the riding gear is done, I think it's kind of cool.
It is cool.
It's
The two of us, this was a long time ago, actually. It might have even been before the bike channel was created. But the two of us went to the reveal of the Streetfighter V4 in Denver when the bike was first announced. And everyone showed up to that event on their Ducatis and their Ducati helmets and Ducati jackets and pants and everything. And it's really cool. It's a cool community that, I don't know, takes a lot of pride in their vehicles and likes to wear the apparel too, and that's not something you can say about a lot of other motorcycle manufacturers. There are some like Harley, and you know, there's some BMW gear out there, and a lot of manufacturers make gear, but Ducati just in particular does a really good job of matching it to the bike, promoting it, and people know about it, and people actually buy it, whereas some of the other brands, they don't.
Also, for the record, this is actually not the first Ducati to be a collaboration with Lamborghini. There was also a Diavel that was a collaboration with Lamborghini, but that also a really cool bike. I would argue that this one is even crazier and even cooler. I'm sure that the folks at Ducati would agree too.
Yeah.
I mean, this is just completely over the top, and that is reflected in the price. So.
Yeah, the price is pretty steep. So if you want one of these, May of next year is when you're going to be able to get it. So we're a little ways out. Starting price. You ready? Mm-hmm. $68,000.
Yeah, and that's $68,000 for the standard
base
model that they're making 630 of. If you're one of the STO owners and you want to get one of the 63 that matches your car, you might think, well, hey, I invested in a Lamborghini. Maybe they'll give me a deal. Well, it goes the other direction, actually. The Speciale Clienti is $83,000.
Yikes.
And again, this would be a shockingly fun bike to ride fast on the track if you're into that kind of thing.
But so would the standard V4.
So would the standard V4. And at the low price of, $35,500
That's for the SP. Even
yeah.
cheaper for the regular V4.
But again, $35,500 is looking pretty affordable.
Yeah.
At this point.
Yeah.
At that point, if you've got 83 to drop on a Ducati that matches your Lamborghini and you want to ride on track, at that point,
Just
chump
get two of
change, you might as well also get a V4 SP because, that's also a cool bike. Is it as cool as this? It could do better, but yeah, you could just get two.
There you go. Simple solution.
Yeah, perfect consumer advice. If you're in the market for a motorcycle, maybe your first bike, definitely check this out. Like we said, May of 2023 for $68,000 to $83,000. If you want to spend $83,000, you also have to buy a Huracan STO, but then you have two vehicles, even more practical.
There's some Ducatis that go for a lot more than this too.
Yeah, that's true too. But still, this is I would say this qualifies as a pretty over-the-top bike.
I would agree, and I think everyone watching would agree too that this is definitely over the top. But that's part of what makes Ducati so cool. Is they're willing to do over-the-top bikes.
Yeah, we don't like Ducatis because they're boring.
No.
This is anything but boring.
Yeah, we like them because they're slow and affordable, right?
Exactly. Yeah, that's why we love Ducatis.
No, but anyway, let us know what your thoughts are down in the comments below. Super cool bike. Really applaud them for doing this. It's also just really cool to see a collaboration between two of the most premier automobile manufacturers in the world, really.
Vehicle manufacturers.
It's just cool to see them coming together and doing something like this. So let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let us know if you pre-ordered one and you're willing to let us throw a leg over and, take it for a ride.
Who wouldn't want us to ride their $80,000
I can't
Ducati?
imagine. And head on over to alltfl.com so you don't miss any stories in the bike world. Also, tflbids.com. We relaunched a few weeks ago. We've got some cool vehicles up for sale. Anything from old diesel Mercedes to pickup trucks to 90s convertibles. We're doing a whole series on those, and we're going to be pawning off those cars pretty soon. So check out TFL Bids, and we'll catch you in the next video.